It's hot, it's sticky, it's sweaty, and I don't care because we're 4 days away from Hot Rod Drag Week happening, and I am at Racer Dave's in a top secret city. I don't even know if he wants people to know where he's at, but I got the Cummins powered ramp truck running again. I hauled my 55 Chevy here. We are doing some suspension tweaks to prep it for Drag Week, and I'm going to tell you who won that $2,500 package of awesome products from wirecare.com, all in this episode of Finnegan's Garage. I've spent a ton of time inside of this place lately. The proprietor, Dave Wright, is a genius, and this is an old school speed shop in the heart of Georgia. His background is mainly dirt track cars, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to set up a drag car, because one thing he does understand is suspension dynamics. 55's in here. He's worked wonders on it already. We've made big changes. We actually lowered the car. So you more astute fans will notice that even though it's hanging in the air, the gap between that wheel well and tire is much smaller. And that's because we installed a Speedway Motors 4-inch drop axle. So it's a tube axle, just like what we had before, but the very end of it, where the knuckle mounts, is raised up 4 inches. We did that so that we could put more leaf springs back in the pack, because before I only had 2 leaf springs and it wasn't nearly enough to control the load of the front end of this car with a Hemi in it, and I was bending the leaf springs backwards, which you guys have seen in another video. Today, because I don't necessarily like the stance of the car, we're going to make our own 1-inch lowering blocks to space the axle from the leaf spring to bring the nose of the car back up and make it look cooler. And then we're going to install a Jim Meyer Racing AntiRoll Bar in the rear suspension, because right now this car leaves perfectly straight if I leave the starting line at about 3,000 RPM. Give it any more power than that, and this thing twists like a pretzel and goes left. So we're going to mount a roll bar ahead of the rear axle right there and try to straighten this thing out. This is our new material for our lifting blocks. 6061 aircraft grade aluminum. We're going to cut this in the bandsaw and then turn this into blocks that will go between the axle and the leaf springs. Yes, leaf springs, that's it. I had to think about that because we're not lowering a mini truck, we're lifting a gasser. How wide are the leaf springs? 2 inches? 2.5? The leaf springs, do you know how wide they are?
1 3/4.
1 3/4. Narrower than I thought.
At least that's what I'm measuring.
Well, I trust your measuring more than I trust my measuring. Do you use any kind of wax or anything on the blade to keep it from clogging?
With this blade, it won't want to do this. It's got a very tooth blade on it.
Oh, alright.
Instead of being like a 16 tooth, it's like a 10, 14.
So there's 2 blade patterns on it.
Yeah, and it's different teeth, so it don't clog up.
Okay. You don't mind if I video you, do you?
Oh, no, that's cool.
One of us has to sound good. I'm losing my voice. Look at that. That's one thing I don't have is a horizontal bandsaw.
It has a shape before and that back.
Yep. That's fun to look at. And efficient. How old is that saw?
Thought that saw was used in the 80s.
In the 80s, wow. Well saw.
Put up for sale, and I bought it.
We got a tip for finding the center of a hole.
Yeah.
What's the tip?
Line up the very corners. With a straight edge like that.
Right.
Come right across the corners. Go right across the corners right there. Where they cross is perfect center.
I love shops like this because they're just full of history. You know, lots of shops have cool cars in them, you know. Cool old trucks and all that. But shops like this have vintage tools. Like that horizontal bandsaw, that anvil, that old ass tubing bender, buffing wheels. Look at this, dude. Old Bridgeport mill. Vertical bandsaw, look at that. That ain't your daddy's bandsaw. How about this iron worker? The thing is a monster. This thing will punch holes in 3/4 inch thick steel plate. It's incredible. There's all the dies for it. If you ever find an older gentleman or woman willing to let you walk around their shop, jump on that opportunity. You will never be disappointed. Most of these tools are built 50, 60 years ago, and they work as good, if not better, than some of the stuff built today. And then there's the requisite 12-inch disc sander from Harbor Freight. Same one I got in my shop. Okay, see, these are gonna slip right in between the leaf spring pad and the springs. So all we gotta do is counterbore
Let's see. What's hole?
counterbore one side of it for the stud. Ah, just enough thread left.
Just right.
Let's
Alright,
see.
where another?
Is right here. So that will go like that. And then the pin will index into the leaf spring pad. And we'll bolt her on back together using the same U-bolts. That'll lift the nose of the car 1 inch and make it slightly higher than level front to back, which will look cool. There she is. Completed install. 1 inch lowering block. Spacing the leaf spring away from the pad and the axle, effectively lifting the front of Blasphemi. So, she should be not level anymore. Looking more like a gaster again. Let's find out. I think we nailed it. Nose is up just a little bit higher than the rear. We have suspension. Now we just gotta make it drive straight. Here's our anti-roll bar kit. It's pretty basic. Up top we've got a cross member that we can weld into the chassis of our car, or we can devise another mounting method that'll basically adapt that bushing and that clamp to the chassis, and then these lever arms will bolt together to these adjustable end links, and the end links have tabs that'll weld to our rear differential, or rather the axle tubes that connect to the rear differential. And what this does is this forces both wheels on the same plane. It's going to resist the twisting motion of the chassis that's imparted by the torque of the drivetrain. It's pretty sweet. This is by Jim Meyer Racing, same company that built the chassis for this car, and it's pretty simple. It's 2 rod ends or heim joints, male and a female there, that connect to a pair of tabs that'll weld to the rear axle right there. And then on the other side, it's got a lever arm that goes to a splined bar. This splined bar we're gonna have to make mounts for, because what we want to do is use an existing cross member in the car already to attach them to. So we're gonna make a mount that goes from here down to that arm. I'll hold it right up there. And same deal on the other side here. Our goal is to get this bar parallel with that cross member, and the arms as close to parallel to the ground at ride height as we can get them. After lunch. So there's the upper chassis cross member we're going to attach our anti-roll bar to, and first thing we got to do is move this brake line out of the way. It's stainless steel hardline, had really nice clamps holding it on, and we've unclamped it. Now what we're going to do is probably just put a gentle bend up there, because we're going to have a U-bolt that comes around this cross member, clamping a bracket here, and then our anti-roll bar will bolt there. Alright, she's in there. You can see we didn't use the mounting bar that came with it. Dave came up with a brilliant idea to use U-bolts and clamps to clamp it to an existing cross member. There's our link mount, which we MIG welded to the rear end housing using a Miller Matic 210. This one is not connected yet. We need to adjust it. You can see where it doesn't. We need to adjust it with the car on the ground and me in the driver's seat. We'll adjust that, run the bolt in there, and then go to the drag strip and find out how much better this thing holds shots. I'm also going to play with the shocks finally. Put one more click of compression in that one. Take one click out on this one. There we go. Go to the track, see how she runs. We're celebrating right now because we left Dave's shop, put the car together, drove straight to Atlanta Dragway in Commerce, Georgia. Sorry, I'm really tired. For the start of Hot Rod Drag Week, a 5-day event where you race 4 drag strips in 5 days. Today was test and tune and registration day, and we just ripped off a lap that was 4/10 quicker than my car's ever run. We ran a 907 at 149 miles an hour. It was unreal. So the roll bar works, the chassis mods works. I'm celebrating tonight. And I want you guys to celebrate right now, because this is the end of the video, and I promised you I'm going to tell you who won the contest from wirecare.com. All of those awesome tools, all of those cool connections and hoses and everything you need to wire and plumb your hot rod. And before I tell you who won, let me tell you who didn't win but made me laugh. MMR commented, "I like to lay underneath my bed and pretend I'm a carrot." Random, but I don't know why I laughed. Mike Villain, "I have a 1990 Cadillac hearse that I purchased so I could fit my kids in the back. I'm still in the process of converting it to make it my official Dadillac. Winning this would help me with the conversion." You didn't win, but I like your Dadillac, so keep working on it. Mick Skate, "I have my ex tied up in a garage, but you don't need to know about that. What you do need to know is that I would love to have this kit to help me wire. I really need the practice." Somebody call the cops, okay? Because that was weird. Brandon Evans, "Do not look up hot rods on Tumblr unless you're ready for a screen full of dongs. Lesson learned." Oh, these are so weird. Okay, but finally, here's who won, right? Are you ready? Andy Streets. You win, dude. You need to win. Here's what he wrote. Finn, I'm a high school auto shop teacher in Charleston, South Carolina. I've dedicated my life to helping out these kids. These tools, especially the electrical connections and tools, would be significant in helping to prepare the next generation. Thank you for considering me. Andy Streets, you and your kids, you won. You get this stuff. Wirecare.com is going to send you everything you need to teach these kids how to wire their own hot rod. Congratulations.
I'm gonna throw this shit out because this is stuff that we've been cutting out. So we had to take out. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so far we cut here. We took out almost an inch, so I had to remount the bottom of this. We're gonna go through here and weld this up. Now, when it comes time to fix it, I'll have to redo all the body work in here. But everything should be fine on it. But it's got the clearance we need from here to here. Now you're fine.
Take the bottom corner and just do a little black Sharpie action right there. Nobody will know.
We're gonna do a little tigging back here, and then when we're done racing, we're gonna fix this.
With black Sharpie?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do a little body work, a little smooth,
Yeah,
and then it'll be fine.
That's you, not me.
Right. But this is the clearance that we need, so we're good on that. So I'll get on the back side over there, and I'll come over and we'll TIG this, set up the TIG machine. We'll do it one time,
Okay.
and that'll be done, and we're good. I mean, as good as we're gonna get.
And look at all that stuff we didn't have to do.
Why do you keep saying we?
Well, because you've been saying we the whole time. You're like, we cut this, we took an inch out of here, and I'm like, all right, we're a team. Yeah.
What kind of team? Ugh.